Let's do some makeup. Good afternoon, or whenever you see this. Let me some lighting on. Oh, wow. All right. It says my connection is unstable. All right. So I'm going to start with my eyebrows, my eyes. Hi, hello. I know I'm not talking to anyone right now. I cannot find my one pair of headphones. I think I'm going to have to buy another pair. Oh, God, it's such a pain. Okay. So anyway, it's been really great getting stuff done and doing, everything. It's really nice. Because it starts getting hot about 11 and then about 12, It's a bit early though. One time when I would help with my son's school, and the no-bake cookies were like the biggest hit of them all. And I would make comparably like a lot of cookies. It would be, I remember complaining because of the fact that, I wasn't the only parent there. So I was always wondering why parents would, kind of expect me. And I was like, okay, I had to make boundaries with my son's school many times because they always, when you have a school that you make boundaries with because you have a family, or even if you don't work outside the home, you have certain things happening that your son or daughter's school do not understand. So I was going through that, and when a woman, what happened was, my kids had told me, hey, this person's complaining about your stuff, but they're taking the cookies home for themselves. And I'm like, it's supposed to be for the sale. So they thought it was right to take the cookies home to sell, not sell, but to eat for themselves. And what happened was, other people found out. My son was telling everybody, yeah, she takes them, home. And everyone was going, oh, that's not what we wanted. We it was a lot of things going on. But the reason why I knew that she had the cookies and she had a lot of them because she wasn't asking for anything anymore. And I said, it's when she asks for it again, what we'll have to do. And this is what it was like the no bake, cookie sale complaint to the office. And they had to let this woman go because she literally pissed off the whole school system. And it wasn't like she was a big fatty or anything. She was pretty skinny. I was like, damn, she just caused a lot of problems. And sometimes when you get people like that, you're going, God dang, when are you going to get that together? But yeah. Oh, you ever have entitled people that you deal with that think they're entitled to, say, stuff of yours? Like you have a brother or sister who walk into your room and go, oh, yeah, oh, that vape's nice. Oh, man, I don't feel like buying weed. If I bought weed, my friends would know. And then I'd feel embarrassed. My son's friend's almost like that. He feels a little more entitled. So when you get people who are entitled and they think that you are theirs, I guess it would be store, go into your room and help themselves to whatever they have or anything of yours. You get those entitled people, not just home or it's out in the world, and the entitled people don't just expect the word yes. They expect you to give unconditionally because they think they deserve your shit. And I'm not joking. I've seen this a gazillion times. They are the sweetest people, hardworking, the whole 9 yards, but they think they're entitled to your shit because they're nice people and, well, you're nice and they need your shit. Sometimes they'll take and borrow it and bring it back when they finished with it and they considered it borrowing. But in reality, they're stealing from you and other people, I'm sure of it, because entitled people do that. They take things that sometimes they go, hey, like here's a good thing. Let's look here. Where's the vape? I thought I see my vape here. Oh, here it is. Here's a vape. Oh, well, when I get done with it, say it's a reusable vape, you can reuse it and they use it up. And then when the reusable vape, because they don't want to go buy any of their own, they're going to leave it somewhere and they'll be found again. Right? I had people when I used to work, not work, but mainly, because you don't take this to work, obviously. But were parties, I had friends I invite to, come in and they'd be trying to leave with vases and stuff. I go, oh, what are you leaving with? And a friend of mine had a vase, a whole, I mean, I'm like, is this a parting gift I didn't know we were giving out? Because as far as I knew, that was my dad's. And they looked around and they're like, well, we thought since you had money, you wouldn't mind it walking out the door. I'm seriously, that's exactly what I was told. I'm looking at them and I go, you put that fucking shit back. All right, the party's over. When people start leaving with shit, the party gets over real quick. Yeah. I happened to notice that, a friend of mine was just walking out with a big fucking vase. And I was like, whoa. And then I said, anyone else walk out? No, you're the only person. And then I find out that this person, real nice guy, real, come from a very good family. He felt entitled to, it would be comparable Back then, it would be a joint. So his friend always had weed. We knew that. Everyone knew that. It was an unwritten rule. Everybody has their own, you know, friend who has weed all the time, and it's cool. And that's great, you know. He said to a lot of people, he would talk and complain and say, your friend, it's not my friend. I don't know how he invited himself. He just came over. So we started realizing people were missing stuff and then they would reappear. Like he goes, it was missing at my home over the weekend when I had that friend over. And then it was in my gym bag. He goes, yeah, I know. We started figuring out stuff. So if you want to go far in life, it's one of those things that entitled people. Yeah, it's like the friend from high school. Yeah, he'd invite himself to parties, and then he felt entitled. And I'm like, who the fuck are you? I think I was more in tune with my feelings and what I was in the past. Like, oh, when I was married and stuff, I just felt horrible to feel magical, to feel in tune with myself. So the first thing that you want to get is in tune with your body. You know, weigh it, feel how healthy your body is, because it helps with everything else. If you have high blood pressure, if you have all the things that go with making your body not feel well, it also makes you think different. Now, my friend, he was just a user. He just was entitled. When you put boundaries, healthy boundaries out, and people don't just understand the boundaries, they argue with you and they tell you stuff. Those are people you want to steer clear of. They're not for you. Um, my dad used to call them something, he used to joke about it, is closest to my, ex-wife. So when you want to get yourself I guess it would be like where you feel you're on the right road where you're at. If you're with someone that drains you and makes you feel useless, you're not on the right road. And that person isn't for you, you know, is what I'm saying. You get entitled people who feel entitled to your energy and to your thought, into having their memory into your brain. They feel entitled, and having entitled people, it's not bad, but it's not good. You don't want to be near entitled people. It just is what it is. But it's like anything else. When you have an entitled person, and they are usually, let's just say this, most of the time they're sociopaths or psychopaths. They try to run the show, is what they say. So yeah, I remember a person that I worked with, um, when he quit working there. People were going, God, it's so much nicer since he's gone and stuff. And it's the same thing. It's when you're dealing with an entitled person, they feel that they are entitled to your things. It doesn't matter if you bought it or someone gave it to you. They're I've seen it a gazillion times, and I've seen people who have come over to my house. I kicked them out. Back in the day, I didn't have big parties. It was a get together. My dad was there. That was the thing. It wasn't a surprise party or I had a bunch of people over. My dad was like, why is my base moved? I go, this guy walked in off the street. I'm telling my dad this and acting like he knew me. I've seen him in high school, but he was walking out the door with it. And my dad goes, wow. So we really have to, especially with the summer coming up, and we're going to be having high school, graduations. And one year was a lot. And I think it was in July because I was working the thing and I actually got invited to one. And I'm like, yeah, I've worked with some weird people since I worked over at the fireworks store at Area 51 one time, and the woman they hired, we both were hired on the same day. I'm not going to say her name, but goddamn, was she fucking messed up. Woo. Oh, so here I am still talking a half an hour. Wow, with nobody here. So yeah, it was quite amazing. I never worked with a woman who let me just say this. After she was done working there, they had 5 new rules. And the first rule was anyone who was a cashier could not go out to anyone's car and like deliver. Because one time these guys came in and said they had a new vehicle. They go, yeah, it's out there. Look, is that beautiful? And she goes, oh wow. She goes to deliver walk out with them in the cart, and she was gone for 2 hours. So I was like, damn. Yeah, new rule. No, nobody. Well, it's not new anymore, but nobody go out. You know, yeah, you have to bring a buddy. Oh boy. Yeah, she was quite a character. So the first rule is get your body in tuned, and then the second one would be to moralize value, write the if you want to, you can write it down. I like to put it on a piece of paper so I can see it. The people who are in your life that are positive, they don't have to live with you, but they are positive in your life. And then you have meditation, and then I call it devoting yourself to upgrading yourself. And that's what I've been doing. Mainly, I have been just taking care of my credit. I paid off one, and then the good thing is they come out of the woodwork going, hey, you can pay this off for this much. You can pay this off for this much. I just want you to pay it off. If I would have been paying it off for a while, it would have panned out. So let's bring the snake lady out. Talk about, you know, getting our inner strengths and realizing our potential. The best thing is to treat people the way you want to be treated. If you want to be treated really bad, then maybe mentally you need to seek therapy more than what your family even knows. God dang. Whew. Hi, we're bringing out the snake lady. Oh, yeah, I sat there for 9 months listening to a woman at my job site talk about how she cooks up steaks and she likes country music. And I think she had an IQ of 5. And my work really wanted her to see her prosper. They really did. She just, she just a snaker lady. That's all. Anyway, Yeah, you get some people in your life that are very negative that try to bring your vibrations down. Anytime you put not just a barricade, you say, hey, this is my boundary. When you got a boundary, you may be a god or goddess, but I tell you this much, there's going to be some devils and crap heads. They're going to be the people who really scare you. The one people that think that they can get away with anything. Yep, those people. They could be your neighbor. They could be your significant other. They could be anybody. But I'm going to tell you this, when you see those people, they usually think that they can, they are the giver taker, they help themselves to whatever they want. They come off as being helpful, but they want power over people in some sense or new. Because they have no power either at home or work or both. Me, I don't give a fuck. I go and get paid whatever I'm told to do. It's a magical thing. I don't bitch. I don't winch. I don't sit there and complain like a bitch. I get it done. I don't say anything. But I'll tell you this much. It doesn't matter who you work with. It doesn't matter who you live with. It matters how you protect yourself. When you're dealing with a negative person, I'm going to tell you this, but because we are on YouTube, I'm going to say that it might work, but it's always worked for me. When I've dealt with negative people and they are not, they scare the masses away. They go and wherever they go, "Oh, shit, we better move." You know, you are super negative. Yeah. When you deal with that, you imagine a white light or whatever color light you like. You could feel like purple, whatever you want. You envision it coming out from middle of you, right here, between your ribs, and it coming out and enveloping you and protecting you, and it works. Those people will not be a magnet to you. Suddenly you will notice they will go and find a different, yes, they will have to find a different victim. It's just the way it works. Archons, a lot of them believe that they are entitled. So you get Archon people. You might even be married to one and want to be divorced from them. They make it impossible to almost want to get divorced. They make it hard. You might be one of those good workers that they didn't want to get rid of. And that's what happened in my instance. Oh, yeah. Yep. And that's what the problem I had. Archons are weird. They're kind of like they only think for themselves. Protect yourselves from them. You might have a boss that's an Archon. You might have a significant other, a neighbor. Still send them love. They're assholes. Like I said, there's all kinds of different archons, just like there's different gods and goddesses. So make sure you have respect for those god and goddesses out there that are driving, that are eating in restaurants that you go to. Some of them might have their we call meat suits plus sizes. Still send them love. They're trying to fill in a hole. They don't know where they're at and they don't remember. Send them all the love that they can possibly get, because some of them really don't understand the whole scheme of things. you know they let their avatar suit get way too big and it's just so sad. And it is, and it's not good for you. Remember that. And it's good to be reminded, you're getting a little bit plussy. Of course, I've been told I was fine, but I started seeing cottage cheese on my legs. That's not a good sign ever. It's supposed to be eaten, not worn. And I'm like, oh boy. So I go on 14-hour fast and I take care of my body. Now, the thing that I want to talk to you guys about is taking care of your body, protecting yourself, raising your vibration, becoming a true God because you have it in you. It's in you. It's in there. I can see it. I can see it. Yes, it's there. I don't need special glasses. We all are the same. We may be there weird and wonderful individuals, but we all are brothers and sisters. So when you give the middle finger to your other brother or whoever, you're doing it to yourself too. And then what do you say to that? Mhm. Taking care of just yourself is fine, but then we all are moms, and you got young moms and stuff. You're taking care of babies. Be careful. Be a good mom. You get stressed out, call for help. Ask somebody. We all, especially if we've had our own kids, we all know the stresses of children. I remember a coworker saying, "Well, I go that young lady has three very sick babies at home. She's not vacationing. She'd rather be here." Really? And I walked away. Don't start rumors with me. I will walk away. I do not care to hear that shit. Being a young parent is hard work. When you have a work institution that honors that is good. Because there's grandparents that have taken care of their kids, because, sometimes, bad things happen and you got to take care of your grandkids and you take care of them and you love them like you did love your own kids and you hope they're not as bad as your other kids. But my son was good. I never had a problem. He was already knew where he was because he all said, and that's what he all told me. He said, I don't believe in the God that my mama and her new or that new husband of hers that she loved so much. Yeah, he was always saying God bless her. He was screwing people over. They're doing an investigation on a cell phone bill that was when I had a prepaid Obama phone. I all had a prepaid Obama phone, but apparently somebody thought that I needed a Verizon account and ran up and left. They left the contract early. And I said, "Oh, that's not me. I was on welfare over in California." In 2011, I had an Obama phone and I was in the welfare system. So they're doing a background check on me. I already okayed it through the company. And I said, "Look, I want to buy my own house and I want to pay off my bills. Could you help me?" And they go, "Yes, ma'am. I paid it off a credit card last week because I work real hard on here. A lot of times I'm lucky enough to get somebody to give something like you could give to my account for my money account with this. It's this and my name. You can help my money account and you can give freely to that over here. Do, 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 do. Over here. Over here. and it will really be nice. And that's what I've been doing. I've been taking the money from this account and paying off credit cards so I can eventually buy my own house. This is like a job. Love to help people out and give people a little idea to wake up from the matrix, and instead of having hotel has been world, to have our own heaven that is better than heaven, better than that God that's obese and crappy. You know, he is the archons and he thinks he's really smart, but he's really dumb. So, anyway, you all, and we all have Sophia. How would it be to have an earth that is even more beautiful than what our mother God is? To have a beautiful earth like that. Could you imagine that? That'd just be wonderful. But right now, earth is a. Okay, just to be honest, you know, it needs a little bit of us, the gods, wake up and start moving things around. The best thing to do it is to make sure you're not around assholes who are negative and act like they aren't. I all love my friend Christina Deppa, who had passed away 3 years ago in October. And she would call herself Twinkle Love. She needed to call herself Twinkle Fucked Up. She was mentally out there. She was in her own private Idaho. Her and alcohol were best friends. Let's just put it this way. When I bought my big amethyst from her, I think that put her over the edge. I really do. My ex, she brought my ex in on it and was talking with him for 3 months because she couldn't do it when she couldn't leave her boyfriend when it was convenient for fucking me. So, yep, he went on a whole drinking binge with my friend and probably doesn't remember half the stuff he did, if you get my drift. So I all come to the whole point. If you love someone, don't leave them for someone else and come back with them and then expect. I just said, fuck, okay, all right, I'll buy your crystal, you leave. And that's just what I did. Oh my Lord. He brought so much drama. I'm like, she's doing stuff over near the Circle K and it's looking bad. I'm going, oh my Lord. Jeez. So, yeah, be very careful. I always tell people this. There are men that will say anything, not just to get into your panties, but to get your money. It's, it just is what it is. So here it is. I got my favorite smoking thing. Now, if you all want to win something like this, I got a new one where I found it. There we go. Okay, I got a new one of these. All right, here it is. Here's a new one. Look at this baby. Do you want to win yourself something fun like this? Brand new, never touched by anybody's lippers, but this is an old one, so you can tell the difference. One has been smoked hard, one is brand new. You all want to win something like this on here? Yeah, that's right. Bring a friend, tell a friend, and because on June 26th, Friday, we're going to be having some fun. You're going to see how hard I have worked on my body. That's right. And you're going to see how nice it is. Woo! That's right. So you all want to be gods and goddesses. You start acting like gods and goddesses of assholes. If you all want to get away from the church and politics, then fuck, why are you talking about politics? Because I all don't want to hear that shit. If I'm listening to Gnostic shit, I all don't expect to be hearing all that. Now, I love David. And when he got married, I was so happy for him. But then oh yeah, she turned out to be, yeah. I used to attend some of his stuff and his meditational workshops. I paid for it. They were not cheap. All right. I was pretty much up there in the silver, not the gold, but the silver, and not the cheapest one, just in the middle, just do, 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 do. And I would attend all these meditational stuff, and it got more and more where she never talked at all. She played her little singing bowls. That's the only thing the bitch knew how to do. She fucked him over 50 ways from Sunday. David Wilcox didn't see this woman coming. He needed to get a prenup. Men, get your prenups. If you're a professional man and a woman doesn't want to sign your prenup, see, if a guy told me he had a prenup, I get one too. Hey, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and that's the same to think about that. If you don't have equal in a society where a woman is considered a dog, and that's where some societies, I am not going to open up what that is, but it is just wrong in any type of situation. I all believe there are equalism. In my family, the woman is considered the smart one, and you have a smart woman, you will have a good running household. Not just smart, mentally healthy. So don't forget to see your therapist at least once a year. Get like a therapist for a month if you could afford it, and say, hey, I like to, get some stuff off my chest. I do this once a year. And then you could do that. I'm going to tell you this. I hope you all have a safe and wonderful day. Don't forget, over here, you can help give, and it will go towards good stuff, even a new wig. I can get a new wig, or I can just do stuff around here besides pay off my credit cards. Now I'm looking at my big one, which is, there's several big ones. What I was thinking, because they want you to pay it off in full, they'll give you better deals, stuff like that. Is when you don't got the money to pay off in full, where you're going, okay, didn't they expect it each week, so you're trying to sit there and shave on the side. So yeah, I'm paying it off though. I've been doing pretty good, so I cannot complain. So anyway, I hope you all have. Oh, I'm so tired. I'm going to go back to bed. Yep. And I just wanted to say how much I am proud of you guys. Let me see. I gotta take my vitamins. Yep. So I just don't know what to say though. I'm going to be honest with you on that. There are some people you will meet that are just horrible people. Those are archons, especially if they don't like laughter. Archons do not like laughter. The sound of laughter to archons is like, you know what it's like? Nails on the chalkboard. If you have the sound of laughter, it scares the shit out of archons. Don't ask me why they don't like it. It's like, that movie where they're playing that country music, and the aliens' heads were exploding, and the girl had her head sewed on her chihuahua dog, and her chihuahua dog had her body. Now that was what you call a good 80s sci-fi. uh, from Mars. Yeah, they were from Mars. Oh, it was so good. I gotta take my vitamins. That's right. Some of them I can't take on an empty stomach. They said it's bad. I said, wow. I tried it on an empty stomach and I got sick. And I said, oh, that's why. Okay. And I take this Arctic krill oil, and this one by this company, it doesn't have it where it it more or less doesn't burp when you burp it up. It don't burp up the flavor or nothing. It's so awesome. So I've been taking that. I take all kinds of different vitamins so I can be healthy. Because of my fasting and stuff, I can, instead of taking the vitamins in the daytime, I take them, of course, at night. And sometimes before I go to bed or when I get home after I eat, which I should start doing. I keep forgetting. The packets in there. So, yeah, take your vitamins. Take care of yourself. Do not drink too much. It's bad for your liver. I don't really drink. The reason why I take the liver medication that I have, it's like not a medication, it's a homotherapy type thing. Because Hershey's special dark chocolate, when they had done the test on them, was 200 and I think 56 parts per million of lead in their chocolate. Oh, lovely. Isn't that? It just makes you want to go, oh, yay. Let me just go buy more of their fucking chocolate so I can have lead in my liver. The FDA is truly. Oh, could you wait a minute, Bobby? I know you want to play Find the Fingers. Ooh, see the fingers. I shave my fingers. I can show the bottom of the floor. I play. Look, Bobby. He loves me. He is such a good kitty. Ooh, I got to get him fixed. I've been worried about getting all these things paid off, so I don't forget to put a plus sign on there. I would be ever so happy. Yeah, I have to put everything up. If I don't, my cat will pee on it. So there's nothing really on the floor except his toys and things like that, or his little, I call it a little love blanket he has over here. I trip on. And he loves to play. There we go. Okay. It's almost 8. Look at that. So anyway, uh, I take vitamins every day. I exercise. I watch what I eat. And I am very happy. I just want to say how much I love you guys. Thank you for coming and joining me. I appreciate it. Yeah, the best way is to protect yourself, especially from archons. There seems to be more and more. I don't know if it's just me. It's just like I'm bumping into a lot of people. Like, whoa, like, yeah, you seem like an archon, dude. Not narc on, archon. Yeah, yeah. Overlord. That's what my daddy used to call archons. Overlords. He said they're overlords. They're overlording over us. I remember my dad had a real asshole boss. He was an archon. I always said, Jesus Christ, it was like he was cold and distant. Well, anyway, I don't know what happened, but he he didn't have to deal with his Archon as much or something because he quit bitching about him. But yeah, my dad had this guy who was like he would take my dad would do a project and he would just take my dad's name off it and take credit for it. I'm like, damn, all kinds of sly, sleazy, crappy things he would do to my dad. And finally, I don't know what happened, if they fired him or did something. My dad just never talked about it at all. I mean, just one day he was bitching for a good 6 months, and then one day he came home, nothing happened. Nothing was said. And I didn't ask. It wasn't my business. I didn't have to deal with it. So you let it go. But my dad used to call them overlords. They're overlords. He used to joke about being an overlord, and I said, "Yeah, that's funny. Uh, eh. Certain people can be an overlord, not my dad. Yeah, that would have to be my uncle's wife, Zelda. She was an overlord. She ran the roost. She got kicked out of Wrightwood, in fact. Yeah, she got kicked out of Wrightwood. I don't know what she did. To this day, I don't know. I mean, what did she do? Whatever she did, my last name was like the people pretty much said, if you ever come here again, just use cash. We don't care to even have that name in our register. Yeah, pretty bad. I couldn't buy anything because they refused service to me because of my last name, because of what Conrad's, whatever she did. My son and I anteed up enough cash to be able to get something to eat. Yeah, it was like, wow, this sucks. So yeah, you know, and it wasn't like I could go down the street and I had a debit card. It was a credit card, so it's credit. And what happened was, in the end, I would say that a lot of people are dealing with a lot of overlords and more than normal. I don't know what it is. It just seems like there's just been a shitload of overlordage here in my area, where you're going, wow, these people are fucking crazy. Yeah, and overlords aren't necessarily mentally sound, okay? They're the ones that are going to actually have a lower, you know, mental component. Yeah, overlords are pain in the ass, and you can't get rid of them. They will go to the ends of the earth to get even with you. Oh yeah, they will. So the best way to do it is keep them out of your life and put a protection where you see it right here, come out whatever color you want. Some people say use white. I say use whatever color you feel comfortable with. I'm going to let you guys go. Put a thumbs up. Protect yourselves from those overlords and have a cosmic evening. All right, I am out.